In today's episode, we're going to be making roasted root vegetables. This recipe is really healthy, tasty, delicious. It's one of my favorites, and we eat some sort of variation of this recipe quite often in my family. So the first ingredient is carrots. I have about 4 sticks of carrots here. This really all depends on how much you like carrots, though. You can add more or take away less depending on how many people you're making this recipe for and your liking of carrots. And next I have 4 beets, and also I will add in rosemary, salt, pepper, olive oil, and then I also have a bag of butternut squash that I use for another recipe in frozen, and I will use that as well. If you use a regular butternut squash that you purchase at the store, you'll probably only need about a third, maybe half of it, but butternut squash can tend to be quite large. So what you don't use, you can quite easily store in the freezer like I did for a later occasion. So first I will take the carrots, and these have already been peeled, but I'll just cut off the ends, and then I'll cut them into large chunks and place them on the tray that I have here. So I'll probably just cut these in about 1.5 inch thickness. It depends on really you and how big you want them to be. I usually like about this size, is how I usually cut them. And some carrots tend to be thicker, so obviously if you have a really thick carrot, then you'll probably want to cut it smaller so it's easier to eat. Alright, so I've cut these carrots, and now I'm just going to toss them on the pan that I have right here. And next I will start on the beets. The one really great thing about this recipe that I love is that it's so colorful. The beets are really pretty purple, and they go so nicely with the bright orange of the butternut squash and the carrots. One of my favorite people to watch is the pioneer woman, or Rhee Drumond. So I based this off of one of her recipes. My mom and I watch her every day in the afternoon together. So I'll just chop these into about the same size as the carrots, into 1 inch or 1/2 inch chunks. So usually with the beets, that would be cutting them about into fourths and then slicing the fourths in half. This recipe usually feeds my family of 5. Sometimes we'll have a few leftovers, but if we're hungry, it's mostly gone by the end of dinner. So depending on how many people you're making this for, you can lessen the amount of ingredients or increase. It's pretty versatile, and I think it goes well with a lot of different meals. I like to have this with the herb roasted pork tenderloin that I have made in another one of my videos. I think the flavor pairings of both of them match really well and make a really delicious meal. So these look about good, so I'll just throw them in with these. And now I'll take my bag of butternut squash that I had previously frozen, and I'll toss that onto the pan as well. Now I'll just take all the seasonings that I have. I'll start out by adding a few pinches of salt and pepper. Depending on how much salt and pepper you like, it's really to taste. I personally love a lot of salt and pepper. I think it gives a lot of flavor, so I like to add a lot. But it's really up to you. And next, I'll be adding some rosemary. Some people may not like rosemary. Again, this is really up to you. You can use any kind of herb you want to. I think the rosemary just gives it a nice flavor. So I have dried rosemary here, but fresh rosemary works just as well, and it's probably tastier. And both smell really nice and give this recipe a a lot of extra flavor. So I'll just add a little more. And next I will take the olive oil that I have here, and I'll drizzle about a tablespoon or two over the top. It doesn't have to be precise, as long as you make sure all the vegetables are evenly coated so they can crisp up nice in the oven. So that's probably about good. And now I'll just use my hands just to stir everything together. And make sure the oil is evenly coated everything, and that all the herbs and salt and pepper have been distributed throughout the mixture. Okay, so this looks good, and I just love the color. The different oranges and the purple really make a beautiful dish, and once they're in the oven and brown up a bit, I think it just looks great on any plate. And so now that it's all mixed, I'll stick this into a oven that has been heated to 425 degrees. And I set the timer usually for about 25 minutes, and then I'll open up the oven and just stir the vegetables with a wooden spoon just to make sure they're not sticking to the pan, and just kind of to move them around a little bit. And then afterwards, I'll set the timer again for about another 20 minutes. It depends really on how hot your oven gets. And then I just periodically check after that first 25-minute mark to see how soft the vegetables are. Once they're done, they should be kind of crisp on the outside, but you should be able to stick a fork through them, and they should be tender on the inside, and that's how you know they're done. So we'll wait for those to cook, and we'll take them out in about 45 minutes. So now the vegetables are done. They've been in for about 45 minutes, and they're crisp and really colorful, so I'll get those out. So here they are. The color is really great. The purple from the beets has kind of run off onto the orange of the butternut squash and the carrots, making it a really pretty arrangement. And so this is the oven roasted fruit vegetables. It's a really great recipe, really versatile, and goes great with any meal that you're preparing.